Let's get to Brad Jones, director at the Missouri NFIB, the Small Business Update. That big, beautiful Bill Bradley. You were dancing in the streets, weren't you?
Well, we were out there about, a couple of weeks before the 4th of July. So it was interesting. We got a chance to visit with Congressman Smith and some of the Missouri delegation, and I left those meetings feeling pretty confident that they were going to get to it. I'm not sure I was really confident that they were actually going to get it signed on July the 4th, but hey, they did. They did.
It got done.
Yeah, they got her done. So, yeah, it was a real good trip. We had some good members out there, and we enjoyed it. It was, like I said, when you talk to each member of Congress, it was kind of interesting to hear their own little twist on it. A couple of them didn't give it a prayer of getting done by July 4th, and a couple of them said, I think it's going to be good. And the one thing that the most important takeaway was, they said, look, of all the other stuff that's whirling around about this bill, the one thing that isn't is the small business provisions. And they said, those are rock solid. And that was pretty much what Chairman Smith said. And I was like, okay, I feel pretty good about that. There's three things in there. I mean, at least small business folks don't have to worry about their getting a 20% increase in their taxes. That's 33 million pass-through companies in the United States that won't see an increase, a 20% increase in their taxes at the end of the year.
Ever. That's permanent.
Ever. That. Thank you, Fawn. That's the big P word, permanent, and that's important. And then they raised the expense limit too. So if you need to go out and buy a pizza oven, or you need a new car or something for your business, you'll be able to expense that, and you'll be able to expense it right away, and that's important. But they raised that limit.
And it doesn't have to be electric either. It doesn't
have to be. It can be just about anything you want. So, yeah, and then they raised the death tax limit also, the most hated tax of any tax by NFIB.
And the one that does not make any sense to me. How are you taxed for dying? I mean, people are losing enough, and then they lose fourth and fifth generation farms because the kids can't pay the tax on the farm because they got to sell the farm to pay the dang tax.
I know.
Stupid.
I think it was my good buddy Kenny Hulshoff, who used to be in the Congress, said, only in America can you get a certificate when you're born, a license when you're married, and a bill when you die.
Yep. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But, that's not permanent, though.
No, I don't believe it is.
No.
I don't believe it is.
So when a Democrat gets back in there, they're going to try to take your stuff again. Hopefully, if you're going to kick here, you better do it in the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's right.
So your family didn't lose the farm. Golly.
Yeah. Well, and then we had, when I talk about the optimism index, I'm talking about June, and it's before this bill was passed. So what they kind of did in June was hunker down, Fawn, really. I mean, it ticked down like 0.2, which is like nothing. So it remained at 98.6. It was interesting. Taxes actually moved ahead of labor concerns as the number one issue, which I think I can probably understand, because they were starting to really understand that, oh my gosh, man, we really could get hit with a 20% increase in our taxes if we don't get this thing signed. So I can understand how that maybe became, went to front of mind as far as the small business folks are concerned. Do they expect business conditions? That was down a little bit. Do they think real sales are going to be better? That was down a little bit.
What about hiring?
Well, hiring went up a little bit. Actually, it went up to 36%. It was at 34% of the small business folks said that they had jobs that they couldn't fill.
Okay.
And it went up to 36 in June, which isn't good. Well, it's been, as we've talked about, that's been pretty high. I mean, in the mid-30s, I think the average is like 21 for the 30-year average on that particular issue. But yeah, it's up to 36. And so the problem with that is you've still got, despite the fact that it's harder and harder to get people to come to work or find the right people, they're still trying. They had like 58% of the members said, yeah, we tried to hire last month here in June, and like almost 90% of them said, but we couldn't find the person we needed for the job. And that's just been really consistent for the last almost couple of years. It's been really difficult for small business people. And the biggest problem is if you get that person, you're going to have to pay for them, and you're going to increase your compensation. You almost have to. Mm-hmm. So we had 33% said that they raised compensation in June. That went up a whopping 7 points. Now, that's not good for inflation. If we're wanting inflation to come down, if we've got all the small business folks out there having to pay more compensation to get people to come to work for them, then you're going to have to, it's going to show up somewhere, and your inflation numbers are going to go up.
People have to ask for that compensation, though, because we can't afford dog food. You know, it's like people are like, I'd love to work for you, but I have to have my needs met, so I have to find a job that hits this mark. So it's
Absolutely.
catch-22.
Yeah, it is. It's an inflationary cycle. It truly is. I mean, it is. You know, when you're looking at the multiple things that affect the economy, that's certainly one of them. And as I've mentioned on the show before, those kind of inflationary pressures, if they're still there and they still exist, you're not going to get this 2% inflation that I know that the administration would love to see. It's just not going to happen. You're still going to have people out there that have jobs that they need to get filled, and they're going to have to pay for them.
Right. But it's funny that they're trying to blame Trump for this. So my memory's not that short. I remember prices went up sky high under Biden, and they have not come down yet. And I don't think once prices go up that they generally do come down a lot, other than gas and things like that are, you know, demand driven, you know, price, or, you know, like eggs when they finally got enough.
Some of your
commodity,
back. Some of your commodity products, sure.
But a lot of it's not coming back down. It's just not.
No, it's kind of hanging up there, and you know, I think we're probably seeing that in the labor market. Mm-hmm. So it's remained a problem.
Yep. So what has AI made a dent yet?
I don't know. I don't know how many of our small business people out there are really worried about AI at this point. I mean, it's going to infringe on everybody's life, mm-hmm. and probably does now, I'm sure. But I haven't gotten any feedback from our members that say, hey, you know what? I think we're gonna have this is really being a problem.
Well, somebody just said you two never ever say what a small business definition is. So I thought everybody knew, but I guess go ahead, fill them in. What do you mean when you say small business?
Well, my favorite definition is when the owner knows the names of the kids of his employees.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to get wonky statistical, about almost 74% of the total number of all employers in the state have less than 5 employees.
Yeah.
I mean, most people go, you got to be kidding. I said, no. I said, you go up to about 82%, and it's 10 or under. So that's out of about 180,000 businesses that are in the state of Missouri. That's kind of the breakdown. And yeah, the nice folks over Employment Security have the big brain that you have to report to every quarter. They're nice enough to update those numbers for me every few years, and I just got them for the end of 2024. And it's a really interesting statistical thing to look at, Fawn, because the percentages don't change all that much, really. There's not a big swing where you see a whole lot less of 1 to 5. If anything, the 10 and under companies are the ones that there's a lot more of now than there were 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. So entrepreneurs are still out there. They're still coming up with ways to sell us stuff or to build us stuff, or thank goodness.
Yeah, you see them popping up here, there, and two, and then you kind of pray for them as you go by. Every once in a while I'll find a hidden gem that I didn't know was there, and I'll go and I'm like, how does everyone not know about you? I'm like, you need to advertise on radio. Everyone needs to know you're here because you're amazing. And they're like, I don't have a budget for that. I said, you can't afford not to.
That's right. You got to
get your name out there. Or
that's right.
We have like a really quaint little business here in town that I just discovered not too long ago, and she said that they had advertised, but not enough. You got to stick with it.
Yeah, you do. It's and that's the thing with a brand new small business. You have to have a business plan, and you need to stick with it. If you've got a good business plan, the thing is, you tend to want to wobble on it if you're doing very, very well, and then you kind of wobble on it if you're not doing as well as the plan says. So it takes some real discipline on the part of small business folks to kind of stick with the plan, and you can adjust it at some point, but when you're first getting going, you just need to kind of keep to your budget and you keep to what you know you can do.
Yeah. And, it isn't easy to budget because you never know what might pop up or become a problem for you in the future, but you got to try to plan for those things as much as you can. I've got about 30 seconds left. In closing, are you optimistic now that this has passed for July and August?
Well, let's see what happens, Fawn, when we visit next time. Okay. Because, that passed July 4th, right. And so the July numbers will come out in August, and I am very interested to see what's going to happen with the optimism index, whether it's going to swing wildly or just a little bit, or exactly what the feeling is going to be out there.
I think the metronome's going to kick up about 3 tempos. I'm pretty sure it's going to. Brad Jones, Director, Missouri National Federation of Independent Businesses. We talk to him once a month, and that's your July episode. Thank you, Brad.
Okay, fine. Take care.
Talk to you next month. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.